Hello and welcome to this weekend's trivia quiz. Today's quiz has 10 rounds of 5 questions each. You'll have 10 seconds to answer each question, or of course you can pause if you want more time. Coming up today, bread or cheese, what comes next, say what you see, 4-letter words, close-ups, 90s movies, in the house, repeated words, Christopher Who, and cartoon characters. Grab a pen and paper to keep your score and let's get started. Round 1, bread or cheese. Is it a bread or is it a cheese? Is paneer a bread or a cheese? Paneer is an Indian cheese. Is stotti a bread or a cheese? That's a type of bread from the north of England. Is manchego a bread or a cheese? Manchego is a Spanish cheese. Is mimolette a bread or a cheese? That's a cheese from France. And finally, is simit a bread or a cheese? Simit is a style of bread from Turkey. Round 2, what comes next? Work out the next one in the sequence. What comes next? Triangle, quadrilateral, pentagon, hexagon. That's heptagon or septagon, as they are the names of polygons in order of number of sides. What comes next? Albatross, eagle, birdie, par. That's bogey, as they are the ranking of scores in golf. Who comes next? Jeremy Irons, Anthony Hopkins, Al Pacino, Tom Hanks. That's Tom Hanks, as he won twice in a row, and they are the 1990s Best Actor Oscar winners. What comes next? Montag, Dienstag, Mittwoch, Donnerstag. That's Freitag, as they are the days of the week in German. And finally, what comes next? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, Fantasia, The Reluctant Dragon. And that's Dumbo, as they are the order of release of Disney's animated feature films. Round 3, say what you see. Guess the everyday words or phrases from the emoji clues. That's earring. That's bird watching. That's rock star. That's fortune cookie. And the final one of these, that's crossbow. Round 4, 4-letter words. Identify the words containing 4 of the same letter. Which word containing 4 of the letter E is a dessert typically made with a biscuit base and a rich creamy filling? That's the word cheesecake. Which word containing 4 of the letter S means a person who kills a public figure, often for political reasons or in exchange for money? That's the word assassin. Which word containing 4 of the letter O describes something which is dull, tedious and repetitive? That's monotonous. Which word containing 4 of the letter A is a tree native to Australia which produces nuts used in baking and confectionery? That's the word macadamia. And the final one of these, which word containing 4 of the letter A is a type of boat with 2 hulls? That's the word catamaran. Round 5, close-ups. Name the everyday objects shown in extreme close-up. That's a close-up of bubble wrap. That's pasta. That's an extreme close-up of some matches. That's a tape dispenser. And finally, that's a basketball. Round 6, 90s movies. Name the 90s films from their famous quotes. I'm your number one fan. That's a chilling quote from Misery. Stupid is as stupid does. That's from Forrest Gump. In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's from the film The Truman Show. What's in the box? That's from Seven. And finally, is it still raining? I hadn't noticed. That's a quote from the film 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Round 7, in the house. 5 trivia questions where all the answers contain the word house. Which house is a 1982 song by Madness? That was Our House. Which house is the building situated at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest in Washington, D.C.? That's the White House. Which house is an 1853 novel by Charles Dickens? That's Bleak House. Which house is an Australian rock band with lead singer Neil Finn? That's Crowded House. And finally, which house is an 1879 play by Henrik Ibsen? That's A Doll's House. Round 8, repeated words. 5 trivia questions where the answer is the same word twice. What repeated word is the yellow Teletubby? That's Lala. What repeated word is an interactive joke often ending in a terrible pun? That's a knock-knock joke. What repeated word is a situation in which everyone benefits and there are no apparent downsides? That's a win-win situation. What repeated word is a traditional maritime phrase used to acknowledge and confirm that an order has been heard and understood? That's aye aye. And finally, what repeated word is a breed of dog originally from China, known for its thick, dense coat? That's a chow chow. Round 9, Christopher Who. Name these well-known people called Christopher. Which Christopher played Captain Von Trapp in the 1965 film The Sound of Music? That was Christopher Plummer. Which Christopher won an Olympic ice dancing gold medal with his partner Jane Torville? That was Christopher Dean. Which Christopher released the 1980 song Sailing? That was Christopher Cross. Which Christopher played the 9th incarnation of the Doctor in Doctor Who? That was Christopher Eccleston. And finally, which Christopher won a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for his role in The Deer Hunter? That was Christopher Walken. Round 10, Cartoon Characters. Name these well-known cartoon characters. That's Krusty the Clown from The Simpsons. That's Pebbles from the Flintstones. That's Cartman from South Park. That's Daphne from Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And finally, that's Inspector Gadget. Well, that's it for today's quiz. Thanks for watching. How did you do? Let me know in the comments. And if you've made it this far, here's a bonus question. What links one of the What Comes Next answers with one of the 90s movies quotes? If you've worked it out, leave your answer in the comments. Here's some links to some other quizzes you might like, and if you haven't already, why not consider subscribing, and then I might see you in the next video.